Welcome to Closing the Brand Gap, a podcast about creativity, branding, and the space between the quality of a business and the way the brand shows up in the world. I'm Elizabeth Gunter, founder of Creative Well Design. Over the years, working with founders and growing businesses, I started noticing a pattern. Great businesses evolve faster than their brands do. The expertise grows, the work becomes more sophisticated, but the brand communicating the work often stays stuck in an earlier version of the company. This podcast explores how businesses close that gap, align their brand with the reality of their work, and build brands that truly represent what they've become. What is the brand gap? Most businesses think they have a marketing problem. They think the issue is their website, their advertising, their social media, or their lead generation. But often the real issue is something deeper. What I've noticed over the years is great businesses evolve faster than their brands do. The quality of the work improves, the experience grows, the reputation strengthens, but the brand representing the business often stays frozen in an earlier version of the company. That distance between what a business has become and how it shows up in the world is what I call the brand gap. How I started noticing this. This idea didn't come from theory. It came from watching the same pattern happen over and over again with founders. A client might come to me thinking they need a new logo or maybe a better website, or they're convinced that they need more marketing. But when we look more closely, the issue usually wasn't just design or marketing. The issue was that the business had grown, the founder had grown, the company had evolved, but the brand was still communicating who they were 5 or 10 years earlier. Maybe the logo was something they created when the company first started. Maybe the website was built when the business was much smaller. Maybe the messaging reflected an earlier stage of the company. So what was happening was that the brand and the business were no longer aligned. And when that happens, marketing starts to feel harder than it should. So what the brand gap looks like. The brand gap often shows up in subtle ways. A founder might say something like, our website doesn't really feel like us anymore, or we've grown a lot, but our brand still looks like we're just starting out. Sometimes it shows up during sales conversations. The business is capable of delivering high-level work, but the brand isn't communicating that level of experience. So potential clients don't immediately see the value. The brand is telling one story, but the reality of the business is something else. The gap creates friction. Marketing campaigns don't perform as well. Sales conversions take longer. The business might even attract the wrong clients, not because the company isn't good, but because the brand isn't communicating the true quality of the work. One way I like to think about this is through the metaphor of an orchestra. Okay, imagine a world-class orchestra. Every musician is incredibly talented. The violinists are brilliant. The brass section is powerful. The percussion is precise. But imagine there's no conductor. Everyone is playing, everyone is talented, but the result isn't music, it's noise. Brand alignment is what acts as the conductor. It brings together all the parts of the business. The messaging, the visual identity, the marketing, the content, the experience. When those elements are aligned, the business doesn't just make noise. It creates something powerful, something people remember, something people talk about. So the brand gap isn't a failure. In many ways, it's actually a sign of growth. It means the business has evolved, the experience has deepened, and the company has become something more sophisticated than it once was. Closing that brand gap is about bringing the brand forward so it reflects the true quality of the business. Thanks for listening to Closing the Brand Gap. If this idea resonates with you, you can subscribe to the podcast for future conversations on creativity, branding, and the process of aligning a brand with the reality of a growing business. We're going to get into it. And if you'd like to learn more about brand alignment, the brand alignment method specifically, or my work with founders, you can visit our website, creativewelldesign.com. Until next time, remember, great businesses evolve faster than their brands do. Closing that gap is where alignment begins.